I'm Andrea, and I've lived here 19 years at 98 Mount Pleasant Road in Currock. I was born at Upperby, and then I moved to Currock in 2000.
I've lived here for 11 years, but I've lived in Currock for 65 years.
I'll be 94 in August. I was born halfway between Blackwell and Durdar. It was the only house around there, apart from, we were surrounded, there was about three farms. But it's all built up now. But the house is still there and they've sort of brought it up to date.
I'm Fiona Goldie. I've lived here for almost 28 years in Upperby, just on the border of your project. And prior to that, I lived over in Upperby proper. Grew up there, I was born there, and spent all of my childhood living there. I moved here when I had my children. When they were babies, we came here, and I've been here ever since.
Hi, I'm Kelvin Martin. I'm a volunteer with Mount Pleasant Road Community Group, working on the Chat and Chomp project. Although I wasn't born in Currock, I have very strong family links with the area. I spent a lot of my time as a child up here with family and friends, and up at Ammons Pond, and it was a lovely area.
My name's Paul Carson. I've lived in this area, was brought up in this area actually in the 70s, born in 58, so now in my 61st year. Moved away for a while when I went to study, and then after that moved down to Lincoln, but was drawn back to Carlisle. It's a great place to live.
I'm Brenda Jackson, and I live at St Ninian's Avenue, Upperby. I've lived there 6 years, but I've lived in Carlisle well over 30 years. I was originally from Penrith, brought up in the Lake District in Glenriding. Father was the local bobby, and I loved it. And then when I got married, I came to live in Carlisle.
I'm 72-year-old. I've lived in Currock all my life. It's a great place to live. I can't see us moving in the near future. I mean, we've been here now 38 years at this address.
I was born in Carlisle, and at that time my mum and dad lived in Coney Street, but they were finding the mortgage payments a bit tough, and things were tough in those days. So then we moved across into the borders, because my dad's job always had a tied house, so we've lived at Carstairs, Lockerbie, Penton, and then for 23 years Newby, outside Annan on the Solway coast. I did live out at Hayton for a while, and I used to do bowling out there, but then we split up, and I moved back into Carlisle in a little terrace house in Montreal Street, and then when things were financially a little better, I moved into a semi-detached on Kirklands. I was missing the bowling out at Brampton, so after a 12-year gap I went back on the bowling, and I play a lot of bowls now. I bowl on the indoor and out at Brampton Bowling Club.
I'm Ray Cassidy. I've been living here in Kent Crescent for about just over 2 years now. Before that, I was down about half a mile down the road at St Nicholas, which was the pits. I'm afraid it was just that long terrace and no space out the back, so when the opportunity came to rent my mate's house here, I grabbed it because there was greenery.
Well, we're free of the floods for a start off, which is a good thing.
I know the people. I know the area. It's not a bad area. So I like it.
I like my garden out the back because it's a 90-foot long garden, and it's peaceful in the back of there, more so than on the front. so I've got it all down to shrubs and grass, so it's easy to look after. The church is nearby and I'm heavily involved in the church. I'm one of the readers at the church, and most people say I do a good reading. And I also frequent the social club here, usually every Sunday night and once or twice besides. So I enjoy the amenities, and it's close to Lake District. I like going walking, so it's just a short drive to the lakes. Couldn't afford to live in the lakes, but it is on our doorstep.
One of the things I like about this area is it's a bit more open. Semi-houses, bit of space between them, bit of space in front and a bit of space out the back. And I've got a garden. I can sit out there in the morning and soak up a bit of sunshine, a bit of greenery around me, a bit of bird song, not too much racket, the neighbours are fairly quiet, and yeah, it's a hell of a lot better place than I was before.
It reminds me of like the country, bits like the countryside, and people are friendly, and you know, there's no trouble, no bother.
The area that I live in is Upperby. It's a nice area. It's developed a lot since I was first living there as a kid. It's developing even more now. There's a new build of houses being constructed by Stories. They're good property. They look very good, and that's also encouraged a new school, Newman School, to be built there.
It's a nice place to live. It's near the town, and yet you're near the country as well. You know, you're sort of between them both. There's plenty to do. There's a park just up the road.
This is a quiet enough area. Everybody looks after the gardens. Nobody bothers each other. Touch wood, we don't have any mad police car chases or anything like that.
It's easy to get out of town. That sounds a bit unsociable, but my fun and games are all in the Lake District or, you know, in the hills somewhere, so it's nice and easy to get out.
It's quite quiet. There's no traffic. It's quite secluded. There's lots of nature, birds, all sorts of birds. I'm not too far away from Hammond's Pond, so all the birds come, and you get frogs and hedgehogs and all sorts of things really. Loads of butterflies. It's nice to sit in the garden here and watch all the nature grow and listen to the bird song, watch the seasons go by. I spend a lot of time in the garden, just enjoying it. That's what's wrong with the place. Some of the neighbours can be a bit disruptive. Most of them are nice. I don't have any problems with the majority of neighbours, but as you might be able to hear in the background, some of them sometimes have quite a few arguments. And sometimes that extends into litter throwing and other antisocial behaviours. But I can just ignore that mainly. Usually it's not a problem, but obviously these things do have a habit of getting out of hand at times.
There is a real community base, but it is getting disintegrated a little bit. Families do tend to stick together around here, and there's a lot of community issues. There's a lot of problems to be dealt with, a lot of economic problems, a lot of single parents, drug issues, such as that. But the rest of the area still keep fighting on and still keep wanting to keep a community going.
I think you should get at least staff that look after Hammond's Pond and clean it up a bit to attract people, because it's getting out of hand. I mean, there's no gates locked on a night now, so you get all the contingent of all the youngsters on there, breaking young trees down and everything, because they've done away with the gatekeeper sort of thing, the park keeper, and it says they've just had nothing but trouble ever since.
At the moment, they've put a lot of druggies and alcoholics down the bottom of the street. That's the only thing I'm bothered about.
Some of the kids are a bit iffy at times, a bit gobby, but the parents, usually they talk to them if you have a word.
I don't think there's a lot of crime actually in this area.
Dog fouling, I think that's everywhere though, isn't it?
Maybe the traffic. The traffic's a bit Too much traffic at times.
The buses, I can go on about the buses because I have a bus stop outside the house. They advertise every 10 minutes. I've just come home from town, I waited 25 minutes for a bus and 3 come at once. You know what I mean? It's the timetables, and they just blame traffic, roadworks. Now these buses are coming from Newtown Road through to Currock. There's no roadworks in Colgate. There's no roadworks in the town centre. The roadworks are on Warwick Road and Greystone Road. So that shouldn't be affecting our buses.
You get dodge bad thing happening, but on the whole it's quite good.
What sort of bad thing?
Just kids robbing and drugs. But I suppose you get that everywhere.
There's an alley over the road where I know they deal drugs, just behind that fish and chip shop. Honest, and everybody knows, but nobody comes and does anything about it.
There's the drug culture and antisocial behaviour, alcohol abuse, I suppose you could say as well, and certain parts are worse than others. It's things at night, people making noise and just being disrespectful to householders and in fact the elderly. So, but it is a problem throughout the country.
And there seem to be phases of that. I think it's socio-economic as well. So it's a time where people are having more socio-economic problems, so we're going to be seeing more kind of antisocial behaviours happening right now, aren't we? So yeah.
I would like to see more integration between the younger people on the estate and some of the older people. There does seem to be a bit of a barrier, which is understandable, and we're trying to achieve that in certain ways with the project, but I think it's going to take longer than what we're doing at the moment.
It's changed a lot as far as children's concerned, because at one time the street was a playground, and now I think it's computers indoors all the time.
Well, given that there are a few problems, maybe the policing could help to deal with those a little better.
Well, presumably if you addressed some of the antisocial behaviours, probably education or youth programmes or maybe even parenting programmes. Some people might benefit from that, interventions with substances, things like that.
Litter's appalling. We all know the problems now with all that plastic junk breaking into little bits and actually getting washed down and out into the sea. You know, even little things like that could be good.
Well, it's on the cards that it's going to be like a garden village, isn't it? They're encroaching on some of the smaller villages, such as Cummersville, Carlton, Briscoe. And Briscoe, it would be a shame. It's a nice, typical old village.
Some things that might be improved, though, are the infrastructure access into the area, because with all these new properties, it's tightening up on all of the roads. So that's something that might like to see improved, but I haven't seen any plans for that.
A bit less traffic on St Ninian's Road, which will never happen. Because we've got problems at the moment with our little cul-de-sac, with people coming into the cul-de-sac and parking in the cul-de-sac because they can't turn and they're reversing out on the main road, which is dangerous. So we'd like something done about that. But it's all in the hands of the council at the moment.
Some more stuff that encourages people who don't get involved communally because they feel uncomfortable, a bit like the chat and chomp thing, that would encourage a wider sort of group of people to get together, because I reckon there's masses of untapped potential up here for getting things going, getting people involved. Anything that actually gets people working together, like simple things that the dog poo thing round here is pretty grim. It's a pathetic thing to focus on, except there's lots of kids knocking about, and that really needs to be sorted.
Oh, there's a lot of changes. Yes, a lot of the shops have closed. Different shops have come in. I mean, we didn't have cafes before, They used to have butchers and a wet fish shop along the front there. It was great. More variety of shops.
I wasn't looking forward to all this building, but I suppose it's got to be done. I've heard a lot of complaints from people about them building them houses round the park. It's spoiled the effect of that park.
I did my first bit of gardening last year. Stuck some things in the greenhouse, stuck some things in the garden and killed the lot within 3 weeks, so green fingers I ain't. So something like Currock in bloom or Upperby in bloom probably ain't going to happen, but I can imagine there's a few people around here might get involved with it.
I know we're going to be having a garden village on the outskirts. Now, I'm looking forward to that. It'll bring some new blood into the area, it'll probably help our schools with new families. And I'd like to think that they had a mix of age groups in the garden village, so it's a little late now, but I would quite fancy going living there myself. Yeah, there will be changes, and you don't want to lose the character either, but could always make some improvements.
It'd be nice to see a little bit of a track going in across the common ground down there, down towards the railway. A bit of a track to get through there when it's muddy, that would be cool.
On the whole, it's not that bad, and if you keep yourself to yourself or you just say hi to everybody, it's not a problem. But obviously there are people sometimes who come along and have a problem no matter what you do, so they're always going to cause trouble just for fun. It would be nice if we could come up with solutions to sort people like that. That would be good. But generally, everybody gets on okay around here, really.
The group's starting to spread now, and it's getting bigger, and more people are getting involved, and by word of mouth it seems to be working. And just to continue keep going, and then eventually try and integrate more younger people into the scheme.
Everything seems to be taken away. There's no amenities as such. The park has less to it these days than it used to. There's a youth group at the old bowling club, but the pubs have been knocked down, and there's no real sort of hub for anybody. The community centre's just a bit too far away for anybody from over here to be involved in it. And apart from maybe the church and the social club there, then there's nothing really.
Well, I'm surprised they're still letting them build on floodplains. I mean, we are extending. I mean, you go up Dalston Road, you've got Peters Lane, all that new area there. Very shortly, I mean, Cumminsdale's been overtaken now. That was a village. I mean, when you were up this area here, Briscoe Road, that was the village of Briscoe. You know, Lamb Street was the only place where people lived. You had Tarry's Lonin, where old Joe Tarry made the tar ropes for Workington and Whitehaven, for the docks. I mean, it's changed that much, it's unbelievable.
They could do with some more youth clubs, I think, to get the youngsters off the streets. Because sometimes you see them all hanging about, they've nothing to do, you know.
With the new garden village projected, it will make some changes here. Schools and social clubs and one thing and another facilities will be more used. There'll be new blood and, you know, things moving forward, so that there should be progress within the future.
I think the future of Upperby and Currock is very positive, with a lot more people coming into the area who are interested in putting their kids into the school, buying their own properties. It lifts the area quite considerably. People have a lot more pride, and there seems to be a lot more community activities with people who actually have become more invested in Upperby and Currock.
Got the rock now, so that keeps them busy. Plenty clubs and groups to join, so good for the area, keeps them busy. Everyone a bit of peace, and as I say, it's been quiet on the night, so that's what we want.
I don't know what the future is really, more of the same. I think there's a lot of drugs, an awful lot of drugs, and a lot of young lads drug dealing that are too young to be involved in that sort of stuff and need some help, so that could just continue or get worse, couldn't it, depending on what happens politically in the area.
If that ring road comes through, the amount of houses that's going to go up, I don't know how they're going to fill them. It's unbelievable. I mean, that's going to run through from Carlton right across to link up with Peters Lane. There's a lot of houses going to go up there.
Before I moved up here, it had a reputation for being a dodgy corner of town, but that's not the case at all. Generally speaking, the area's got a lot going for it. Wide open, there's greenery nearby. I can be down on the banks of Petrel. I can be heading into town across a bit of greenery, down on the common ground. If I want to get out of town on the bike, I'm through Hammond's Pond Park, and world's my oyster.
Oh yes, I am in with the bricks now.
I would like to think I'd move somewhere out in the country, but it's probably just a pipe dream. I'm quite settled where I am. I've got my garden looking really nice. I've got all the things I need on hand, amenities, my bowling and church and nights out in the social clubs, so I'm quite happy and settled. I don't think I will. At my age, I'm going to be 70 in December. I can't see myself moving away.
Well, that depends very much on those funny things called relationships, and there's a fair possibility that just because of the way things have worked out, I might possibly be heading off up to live in Glasgow shortly. Well, that's something I never thought would have happened, but hey-ho, you never know. But there's nothing making me want to move away from here, but there's a couple of things attracting me northwards across the border. Because I work digitally, I can work from there just as easily as, well, nearly as easily as I can here. But also, just with the new business me and a partner have started up, there's actually possibly quite rich pickings up in Glasgow as well. So it might be, there's two advantages, a little bit of love and possibly a big chunk of business that are dragging me northwards.
I've been here 28 years. This is my home. It's a housing association property. It's a good house, it's a nice house, and it's maintained well, and it's got a lovely garden. I've got no reason to go. The odd antisocial neighbour or something, they can move, not me.
I've been back in Carlisle now for about 8 years, and I really enjoy living here. I've met lots and lots of new people, just by work and by some social interaction with some community groups and some other walking groups. I feel as though I'm back to Carlisle to stay. I've got some part-time interests that will keep me busy long into retirement. So yeah, I think Carlisle is a great place to stay, and it's improving all the time with infrastructure in and around the city. So yeah, that's me for good.
Oh yes, I'll not move now. No, I'm not going to uproot now. Yeah, I enjoy living around here.
72-year-old, I don't think I've got all the time left. I can't see us moving unless I get a super win. Oh, that reminds us, I haven't got my Euro lottery yet. Just remembered that. Yeah. I mean, that would be the only thing that would get me to move. But I mean, all my friends are in this area. You know what I mean? Do you leave everybody that you know and then start all over again? It doesn't happen. You know what I mean? And I mean, I know people that's won a lot of money and they've still come back to this area.
You're not planning to move away anytime soon?
Oh, did we? No.
Depends on my circumstances in the future. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows?